Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 276. Midterms are coming. How's everyone doing today? There's been a long morning already. That's right. And just to let you know, if we get any type of interruption here, we got a satellite TV guy that's supposed to be coming in a little bit. There may be a little interaction. That's about all. But trying to get my studio going, and we ran into a problem with the monitor. So they're supposed to take that. They'll be in and out really quick. My wife's going to take care of it, but I told her if she had any questions, just come over, interrupt me a little bit. But we'll take care of that. Thank y'all very much for tuning in today. Hold on. There we go. And then, so before we get started, don't forget to click that follow button, and then click the like button that's right beside it. It's a thumbs up, and please share. Right now, we're also simulcasting through Facebook and through X, and we're trying to get onto YouTube. I think I might have found a workaround on that, but everything Rumble's the base. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, always send them to Rumble. Don't send them to Facebook or X. That's for people that just want to watch it live there. Send them here to Rumble. All right. Let's see. All right. So we got that taken care of. So next is America 250. All right. So I have just one thing for America 250 today for December 10th, 1775. It was a letter from George Washington's cousin, Lund Washington, and it's dated the day. And so it says, "Dear Sir, I received no letter last post from you. I suppose you did not write. Jennifer Adams has made deeds for his land to you. Mr. Craig was here on Thursday last. He says he thinks unless the land is rented to Adams, it will not be rented at all, unless it is rented for little or nothing. As yet, I cannot tell what I shall do with it. If I find it cannot be rented to advantage, perhaps I may let Adams have it. I intend to go down to the land this next week. Adams offers 2,000 weight of tobacco. I desired Dr. Craig to let 30 pounds for it if he could. I have a very strong inclination to ship a cargo of your flour and Indian corn, or whatever was by judges thought best, to some part of the world. It would take the returns in arms and ammunition. If it was not lost, it may perhaps be no more than what it will be where it is. If on the other hand, it should get safe to market and return safe, it wouldn't be profitable to you. But as you have hitherto been unlucky in trade, and I have often heard you say you wouldn't not venture again, I have declined it, though I think it be best to do it. I am apt to believe nothing will be done toward the battery on Potomac. On Potomac. It serves to talk off and no more. I have said that I can about it and urge the matter in every company, but I fear to very little purpose and cry. It is all the estates that would be immediately benefited by it would not be able to pay the expense of it. I have sometimes a great mind to build a house at Morris's, and to put your house of goods in it. Towards the spring, I am at a loss to know what else to do with them. There is nothing such thing as renting a house in any place of safety. Perhaps you may think Morris is not safe. I once wrote you about it. Mrs. Barnes also presses me to make use of hers. If things do not change for the better, I shall move your furniture somewhere other in the spring. I wish I had 12 or 15 good muskets to tender your. I wish I had 12 or 15 good muskets. No tinder should burn your houses, and as it may possibly lose some men in doing it. I have sent to plaster and back Colonel Lewis. I think the dining room is very pretty. Sears is now here painting. And hold on, we've got breaking news. I have no idea what that is. Tim Keller, reelected mayor of Albuquerque. Okay, now back to this. I have sent the Pallister back to Colonel Lewis. I think the dining room very pretty. Sears is now here painting, not the Sears Roebuck, but someone else. He has painted the dining room twice over and the new room once. Since Mrs. Washington went away, we have been trying to cure the chimney from smoking, and I am in hopes of have it done and doing and undoing 20 times. The cellar, the room, the dining room, there really smoked so bad that the walls looked as bad as any other quarter, and the smoke from the cellar came in to the other rooms. Not yet gathering corn, suppose instead of a sounding berry, I have no idea what that is, and selling his land, you are authorized me to purchase it. I believe it may be done, or you may have a piece of land anywhere that you may think you have value, swap it for. Barry died in debt, and all of his personal estate will be sold to pay it. The young man will have no one to work it for him. He had better sell the land and keep it. I have heard several, got one paragraph left, several say so, whose advice he may take. Our people are all well but Gunner. He is still laid up with his foot. We have killed our hogs, but if I thought neither Mrs. Washington or you would return in the spring, I would not have killed so much by several thousand. I am mistaken in the people's being all well. Knowles has been laid up several times but had not yet recovered. They attempted to saw the bull horns when I was out of the way, and everything Bishop does is wrong. So that was every man, woman, and child, I am told, upon the plantation assisted, but the bull proved too many for them, and in the scuffle Knowles had like to have lost his life. He will be well, I suppose, in a few days. I offered Reagan land on the other for 30 pence per half acre. The money lay down in another 2 years, but I am doubtful that I could collect the money. It is a good bargain, Captain Conway. I am told we'll get it. My best respects to Mrs. Washington, Mr. and Mrs. Curtis, and I am, dear sir, yours, Lund Washington. And he said, P.S. I think your corn houses are too near the water, but I don't know how to remedy it. Suppose the corn should get burnt next spring, it will be bad. It's just a general information letter. I like the part about it sounds like this guy was trying to rodeo back 250 years ago. I guess that could be the beginning of what happened. And the first rodeo was in Prescott, Arizona. Well, that was pretty cool. All right, so that was a letter. Nothing combat in it except for the muskets. But that was 250 years ago, right? That made up for the combat letter we read yesterday about the Battle of Great Bridges. Alrighty, so now we have the Dalmatian Texas Burger Group. Now I'm hungry. They make homemade smash burgers and hot dogs here in Copperas Cove. All their ingredients are homemade, including their buns, and they open Tuesday through Saturdays, 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out. And they're located on the west side of Copperas Cove. All right, behind Bush's Chicken, at the back of the shopping center. All right, give them a look-see. You'll like them. All righty. So, where do we start at? Don't forget to click that follow button. Okay. There we go. All right. So we'll get this right here. 2 bits of news. Last night, the Dems won a mayoral election in Miami, first time in 28 years. Miss Higgins defeated Elio Gonzalez 59% to 40%, and it was his first time to run for office. Okay, so take it as you may, but it was his first time to run. Things happen, but the president's got a course of action he started, and to push forward to try to get us through the finish line and to keep the majority in the House and Senate. We'll be talking more about that throughout the episode today. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave something in the live chat or leave a comment. All right. I don't have a hall monitor like some people do, and so I'll see it when I see it. I got a tablet right here, and I have a cell phone over here. Both got the live chat up, so if I look left or look right, I'm going to see it. Okay. All right. So President Trump was in what's the name of that place in Pennsylvania? Mount Pocono, I think it is. He was in the middle of steel country. And so it was a rally, and it was pretty good. It reminded me of his election rallies that he was doing last fall and spring. So it sounded really good all the way through. How it ended, his Make America Great messages all the way through it. One thing that made me laugh was there's this one guy, if you were watching it, to the right of him, this one guy was wearing like a button-down shirt. I forgot what he had on that. But the president said he looked like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. And so you had to see it, but it was cool. So I got an article from the New York Post, and it says President Trump launched his new affordability-focused roadshow Tuesday in northeastern Pennsylvania, the first stop on a high-stakes messaging blitz meant to steady the White House after Republicans suffered a bruising off-year election cycle in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. I have no higher priority than making America affordable again. That's what we're going to do, he said. And again, Democrats caused the high prices, and we're bringing them down. It's a simple message. Touting his accomplishments, Trump pointed to his tariff strategy, which he claims was bringing us hundreds of billions of dollars, as he brushed off criticism from naysayers. I'd say my favorite word is the word tariff. I love it more than any other word in the dictionary, he said, and the fake news said, that's terrible. If we didn't have tariffs, you would have no steel. He said if we didn't, we wouldn't have had one steel mill anywhere in the United States, and that would be really bad for national security. He went on to highlight his efforts to bring energy prices down with the greatest amount of drilling, the greatest amount of fuel being produced right now in our country. When that happens, those prices come down. That's why you're seeing oil per barrel down nicely, very nicely, he said. We won't want to go so rapidly because that would want people to produce it and to keep producing, but they're doing good, but it's amazing. But when energy comes down, your other prices come down, he added. Very true. And more wins are on the way, he said, pointing to campaign promises fulfilled in the big, beautiful bill set to take effect next month. We're also putting thousands of dollars in the pockets of hardworking Pennsylvanians with the largest tax cut in American history. That's no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, he said, and that's what kicks in January 1st. Together, we're repairing 4 years of disaster by the radical left Democrats in Congress, and by the worst president in the history of our country, he added. The tour comes through a rough patch for the GOP, with significant losses in New Jersey and New York City in November, and Virginia, and has been attributed to Democrats and Republicans to an affordability crisis. I take issue with that because both New Jersey and New York City are both heavily Democrat states and cities, and you can say the same thing for Virginia. Virginia is a purplish blue state, so you can't say that we got crushed in that, okay? And as Trump spoke, President Eileen Higgins defeated Trump-backed Republican and then become the next mayor of Miami, which I just told y'all about, right? Now the president is recalibrating, hoping to refocus voters on the economy, an issue that helped him secure the White House last year, even as polls showed growing skepticism in 2025. So you could look at it like this. The Democrats and the liberal press have done nothing but browbeat the president through hatred and just straight out demonizing the president and all Republicans in anything. If they do something right, they claim it was wrong, and it's evil, and they're trying to hurt Americans, in which they're not. You take the Obamacare subsidies; so they're getting browbeat on that one. But what they're not telling people, that was hundreds of billions of dollars. That was a temporary thing because people were getting hurt during the COVID crisis in 2021. And those subsidies were meant to be a relief for 4 years. But they're not saying that. They're just making it sound like the Republicans are trying to take medical care insurance away from Americans, in which they're not. But it just shows how expensive outright those. It's like how do you put it? You get a grant on something to cover the price, and the grant lasts a few years. The grant finally goes away, right? You're left paying the real price. Well, you didn't know what that real price was until the money someone was giving you just disappeared. And that's exactly what was happening. Okay, I saw a deal on the news just a little while ago from the president. He was agreeing that all Americans that have these health care policies be given $1,500 apiece to put in HSAs, healthcare savings accounts, to cover their. Oh, I have a visitor. My wife's over about 10 feet from me. I lost my train of thought now. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go to the next one. All right. So, just remember, just be patient. Everything's going to work out. All right. Next thing is here in Texas, in Tarrant County. I told you all about a week and a half ago. Tarrant County, which is where Fort Worth is. Would you believe there are 2.2 million people in Tarrant County now? And when I was growing up, it wasn't above a million. But there's 2.2 million people who live there. Well, one of the things that happened over the course of the summer, they redistricted also because something happened and they weren't able to reapportion their county commissioner seats. Well, they made it to go from a 3-2 county commissioner deviation to a 4-1, right? And the Democrats got upset about it, and now one of the county commissioners for Precinct 2, Alyssa Simmons, says now she's going to run against the county judge, Tim O'Hare. So I'm going to read an article from Brandon Whalens from the Texas Scorecard. And this was updated yesterday. In the wake of failed attempts to block Tarrant County's new redistricting map, Democrat Commissioner Alyssa Simmons intends to challenge Republican County Judge Tim O'Hare in 2026. I don't know if she's filed yet, but she has to file for election against him. And we all know that Monday was the deadline to file. I'm pretty sure she has because Brandon wouldn't have published this when he did. Simmons has been an outspoken critic of the Republican redistricting plan championed by O'Hare, calling the new map and anybody who voted for it racist. It's always a racist thing. The commissioner announced Saturday that she is now running for the countywide judge position. And Simmons has previously announced plans to run for re-election as county commissioner too, but that was before two challenges to the redistricting were dismissed, one dropped by the plaintiffs themselves, and then leaving the new map in place for 2026 and beyond. Precinct 2 was redrawn in June to favor Republicans, giving the GOP a 4-1 partisan advantage in the county's governing body. Democrat-aligned plaintiffs sued in federal and state courts to block the new precinct boundaries, claiming the redistricting were racially motivated and disenfranchised minority voters. Remember what she said a while ago? She said it was racist. O'Hare and election law attorneys with the Public Interest Legal Foundation defended the new map as a permissible partisan gerrymander, and redistricting fulfilled a commitment by O'Hare made during his first campaign for county judge in 2022, as the previous administration declined to redraw the commissioner precincts following the 2020 census. I would like to know why they didn't redistrict in 2022. In September, a federal district court denied the Democrats' preliminary injunction to block the map while the case was litigated, citing a dearth of evidence that the Republicans' redistricting were racially motivated, because it wasn't. In late October, the Fifth U.S. Court of Appeals upheld the district court's ruling, agreeing that the Democrats were unlikely to succeed on the merits of any of their claims. On December 1st, plaintiffs Attorney Chad Dunn, longtime general counsel for the Texas Democrat Party until March. Next page, please. Alrighty. Filed a notice to dismiss the lawsuit. Days earlier, the district court judge dismissed the separate claims brought by LULAC, that's the League of United Latin American Citizens, and the League of Women Voters. Both of those groups are very far left-leaning groups. Facing less than favorable electorate in the new Precinct 2, Simmons opted for a countywide run, also an uphill fight in 2022. O'Hare beat his Democrat opponent for the county open judge seat with 53% of the vote, a margin of about 35,000 votes. In that paragraph right there, that explains why they did not do redistricting in 2022, because there was a Democrat county judge in charge of Tarrant County. They saw the writing on the wall and didn't want to adjust their precinct lines for their county commissioners. Now it comes to bear. Simmons was elected to the Commissioners Court in 2022, and before that, she served as the president of the Arlington NDAA for more than a decade. In her new county judge campaign announcement, Simmons touted her experience fighting to protect families, reform Tarrant County Jail, and defend voting rights. You know, in that statement, only one thing pertains to the county commissioner out of those three: the county jail. The county commissioners are responsible for the county jail and for the roads and bridges. All right, so she doesn't have a grasp on what she wants to run for. O'Hare responded that Simmons carries the same political ideology that Tarrant County has spent years keeping on the other side of the county line in Dallas. Judge O'Hare's record couldn't be clearer. He cut spending, he reduced taxes, he strengthened public safety, he delivered better results with less bureaucracy, according to his campaign statement. Simmons' record is an embarrassing trail of outbursts, obstruction, and attempting to hike taxes that put taxpayers and law enforcement at risk. Democrats Lydia Bean and U.S. Representative Mark Veazey and Republican Trevor Bucher are also running for Tarrant County Judge. The winners of each party's primary will face off in November. Veazey has represented Texas's 33rd congressional district since it was drawn by a federal court in 2011 and is a majority-minority district, but Veazey was cut out of 33 when Republican lawmakers redrew the state's congressional boundaries after the sheriff prompting them to file late Monday for the county judge's position. All right, so you heard it there, and that's what I was going to lead into. Like say, Mark Veazey is not running for CD 33, in which he had filed to do so, and he dropped that bid. And take it as it may. You heard that what's her name, Jasmine Crockett, is running for the U.S. Senate. She's not running for her congressional seat, right? Well, Colin Aldred used to be a U.S. representative, and he ran for the Senate 2 years ago, got beat. He was going to run in the U.S. Senate against John Cornyn. He never filed. So late Monday, Jasmine Crockett talked him into not filing to run for the U.S. Senate, but then I guess he heard that what Mark Veazey was doing about he wanted to run for the county judge seat in Tarrant County. He dropped his bid, and then Colin Aldred filed to run in CD 33. It's like a chess match, right? Or Tetris. You're filling in the blank spots. So that's what they're doing. So Mark Veazey, a very popular Democrat, is now going to run against O'Hare, but first he's got to get past Miss Simmons in the March 3rd primary. So lots of stuff is going to be happening in Tarrant County and in Dallas County because Colin Aldred doesn't just have himself running for CD 33. There is an opponent in there. All right. Boy, lots of moving pieces in that one right there. Mr. O'Hare, Judge O'Hare should get reelected. That shouldn't be a problem. I'd like to see Mark Veazey be totally unemployed. All right. So the next is the reason for winning midterms. Okay, there's a reason for it all. Okay, besides power, right? And two things happened yesterday. Well, one thing happened yesterday. One's about to happen, right? So, Representative Haley Stevens, she's a Democrat from Michigan, filed impeachment articles against RFK Jr. And her quote, he turned his back on science and safety of the American people. Michiganders is what they call themselves, cannot take another day of his chaos. That is the whole reason why she filed impeachment articles against the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He's doing his job. Nowhere in the qualifications for Health and Human Services says you have to be a doctor, right? Or a physician, or a nurse, or even a paramedic, okay? He is a political appointee of the president, and he is doing his job, right? She doesn't like it. I don't care. I don't really care for RFK Jr. either because he's a Democrat, but he's working for President Trump, and he's doing a job he was hired to do, right? And then to add on to that, another Democrat, I think it's going to be tomorrow, is planning to file impeachment charges against the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. I don't know how far that one's going to go, but it just keeps coming. Now, talking about the reason for winning the midterms is if the Democrats take charge of the House of Representatives, and it's a really close race right now. I think there's 220 Republicans in the House. That they're going to go after President Trump and his cabinet over and over and over again. And when you file impeachment charges, and if they come to the House floor and they're passed, now you have someone that's impeached. It automatically goes to the Senate, and they got to hold a trial. That means they have to stop everything they're doing and hold a trial and organize for an impeachment trial. So this takes days or weeks of stuff to do. And, if they're going to try to do it to the president, they're going to try to do it to all the other members of his cabinet. And I heard this morning, Vince Connolly's, he's got the podcast called Vince. He took over for Dan Bongino when he went to work for the FBI. And he railed against Chuck Grassley and John Thune over blue slips. More stuff. This is why we have to win. We have to win. John Thune, Chuck Grassley, he's like super old, okay? These guys, I have no idea why they're thumbing their nose at the president over the matter of those blue slips, which aren't, like I keep saying, are not even in the Constitution. They're not allowing the president to put the lawyers, the U.S. attorneys, and the district judges, and the the appeals court judges into places where they need to go because they can't even get a hearing. Because the senators in these states where they're trying to place them in will do the thing called the blue slip thing, and they won't even get a hearing or a vote in the United States Senate. So the president's got to find lesser qualified personnel to be able to fill those seats. If we get better Republicans in office, we can actually action this stuff so we can keep winning. Because, like I keep saying, the president has a finite amount of time, or he's going to finally run out of options to be able to finish out his term with the stuff he wants to get done, and whoever becomes president after him, because his term is over in January 2029, and he's done. And when he gets out of office, he'll be 82 years old, right? I can't believe that. But that's the reason why we have to keep the House and the Senate. And what would happen if something happened in the Supreme Court and we have a Democrat-controlled Senate? Just imagine the worst things possible could happen. Every time the president would put up a new justice, he would say no. The good thing is if the House and the Senate went to the Democrats and he's in charge, every time that they tried to expand the Senate, expand the Supreme Court or add states, he could veto it, and he would sustain his veto. It wouldn't be overridden unless you get a bunch of turncoat rhino Republicans that go in there and vote with the Democrats. That'd be the only bad thing. Hold on just a second. Next. So we read that. So let's see. Supreme Court. We were just talking about the Supreme Court. All right. So I'm just going to read a portion of this. So Supreme Court is supposed to, I believe, the day, I think. Matter of fact, okay, I'll get to that one in just a minute. The Supreme Court on Friday announced it would hear challenges to President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. The 14th Amendment automatically makes babies born on American territory citizens, and Trump's effort to overturn the traditional reading of the Constitution text and history says should not succeed. This is John Yoo writing this. It's talking about, okay, this is where I wanted to start. Critics, however, respond that the subject of the jurisdiction thereof must refer to citizens, parents, or risk being redundant when being born on U.S. territory, but at the same time of the 14th Amendment's ratification, domestic and international law recognize that narrow categories of people could be within American territory, but not under its laws. Foreign diplomats and enemy soldiers occupying U.S. territory, for example, are immune from our domestic laws, even when present on our soil. A third important category demonstrates that subject to the jurisdiction thereof was no more than a surplusage. Don't ask me to define that word. I have no clue what that means. At the time of Reconstruction, American Indians residing in tribal lands were not considered subject to U.S. jurisdiction. Once the federal government reduced tribal sovereignty in the late 19th and 20th centuries, it extended birthright citizenship to Indians in 1924. The 14th Amendment's drafting supports its straightforward reading, but in 1866, the Civil Rights Act, passed just 2 years before ratification of the 14th Amendment, extended birthright citizenship to those born in the U.S. except those subject to foreign power and Indians not taxed. The Reconstruction Congress passed the 14th Amendment because of uncertainty over federal laws to enact the 1866 Act. If the amendment's drafters wanted jurisdiction to exclude children of aliens, they could have simply borrowed the exact language from the 1866 Act to extensive lots of legalese written in this. Do you agree, Ann? Oh, she wasn't paying attention. All this legal stuff. There's a reason why I'm not a lawyer. So this is what the president's trying to do. Is, if you remember the executive order that that he signed several months ago, was that if an illegal alien enters our country and has a baby, it's called an anchor baby, right? That it would that kid would automatically become an American citizen. Well, the president is saying no, it shouldn't be an American citizen because the parents should not have been here in the first place. And I feel he's right. If you're a legal resident, someone is not yet an American citizen, you're here legally, I can see that. But these people aren't, and that's what he's trying to prevent. That's all he's trying to prevent. That if you are here illegally and you have a baby, your baby is not automatically an American citizen. I need to mark where I'm at. And then that would also apply to Americans, and it was put, I forgot what the name of the bill, but someone's about to put forth a bill to, if you are an elected member of Congress and you are elected and you got dual citizenship, you have to surrender the dual status. You are an American or you're not serving. And I fully agree with that one also. This afternoon, as we speak, 13 minutes ago, the House is supposed to entertain language on the $900 billion defense bill, the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. And this article comes from FoxNews.com, written by Elizabeth Elkind. A wide-ranging bill setting the federal government's defense and national security policy for the fiscal year survived the key hurdle Tuesday night, but questions over whether it will get to President Trump's desk still remain. The House Rules Committee voted to advance the NDAA along party lines after hours of debate. This guy is 3,000 pages long, right? But with several conservatives already voicing concerns, it's unclear if it will survive a procedural hurdle that will likely need almost all the House Republicans to vote in lockstep, despite support from the majority of the House GOP. The Rules Committee is the final gatekeeper before most pieces of legislation get a chamber-wide vote, and lawmakers on the panel are responsible for setting terms of debate on the bill. The next step is generally a House-wide procedural vote, which is supposed to happen at 12:30 Central today. It's called a rule vote. Fox News Digital was told earlier this week House GOP leaders hope to hold the vote early in Wednesday, but I heard it was earlier. But it's 3,000 pages long. There were several Republicans like Michael Cloud from Texas, Greg Steube from Florida, Eric Burleson from Missouri, Tim Burchett from Tennessee. They all said they're unsure how they want to vote on this. Well, for the speed that the bill came out, the secrecy of the bill while it was being produced, and the thickness of the bill, 3,000 pages deep. That's 6 reams of paper. That's about that thick, about a foot thick. All right. If I could pull out a ream of paper, I can do that. That's a ream of paper. Imagine those 6 of them put together. That's the national defense bill that they're trying to pass. $900 billion. So that's supposed to start off at 12:30 today. And nothing on the news about it right now, but soon a Fed rate decision. Oh, wow, that'd be pretty cool. Hope I'm pulling for interest rate deduction. Okay, anybody else? I got 7 people live watching right now. Who's for interest rate deduction? Chime in. Let me know. I'd like to see. The Second U.S. Court of Appeals vacated a decision inside of New York State that said that New York schools could mandate vaccines, and this was pertaining to the COVID shots and stuff. And the Supreme Court told, wait a minute, am I in the wrong one? Oh, okay. So the Second Court of Appeals said that New York State could have the mandated vaccines, but the Supreme Court said no, they couldn't. All right, and that was signed off on December 8th. I got this from the Epoch Times, and it's called "Supreme Court Vacates Ruling That Upheld New York School Vaccine Mandate." It was Mahmoud versus Taylor. So what it was the Supreme Court on December 8th vacated a ruling upholding New York's ban on religious exemptions to its school vaccine mandate, and ordered the lower court to review its stance on the ban in a case is known as Miller versus McDonald. Justices vacated the March decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals in the Second Circuit and found the legislation banning religious exemptions on the vaccine requirements was neutral on its face and did not target or firmly prohibit religious practices. The judges directed the appeals court to consider its ruling in light of the Mahmoud versus Taylor, a Supreme Court ruling in June that sided with parents who wanted the ability to opt their children out of interacting with books in schools and promoted LBGT lifestyles. Justice did not say how the appeals court should immediately rule after reviewing Mahmoud versus Taylor. Okay, and then they revisited it and ruled that they have to give the parents the option for the best interests of their kids. All right, so, and then next thing I want to show you is I'm going to flip a slide. Oop, wrong slide. Okay, get back here. Stop. All right, so this came out yesterday. If you don't recognize it, it's from the District Court of Appeals, and is upon consideration of an emergency motion for stay pending appeal, the opposition thereto, and to reply to the Rule 28J letters and responses thereto, and to request the lift of the administrative stay. On the response thereto, it is ordered that the administration stay entered on March 27, 2025 be dissolved. Further ordered that the motion for stay pending appeal be granted. A concurring statement with Judge Copperas, joined by Circuit Judge Rayo, and the dissenting statement by Circuit Judge Pillard are attached. So what does that mean, right? What that means is the president's order, or Secretary Hexas ordered that Transgender personnel in the military have to be discharged, has to be honored. So what it was is a bunch of transgender people in the military sued the federal government, said you can't discharge us. They just got authorization through the Second Court of Appeals to say they can be discharged. All right. And to keep the ban in place also. So that's done. All righty. How are we doing on time? We're doing all right. All right. So, do we want to talk about Crockett? Crockett says that Mamdani Trump, AOC Trump voters are, when confronted with on path to victory in Texas, this lady thinks she has a path to victory in Texas. There's a difference from the 33rd congressional district and the United States Senate going statewide vote in Texas. She actually thinks she can win. She said Jasmine Crockett, appointed to the Mamdani Trump voters. There's no such thing as a Mamdani Trump voter. Hold on just a second. Mamdani backs challenger against New York Democrat who refused to support him. Oh, that's Dan Goldblum. He's a Democrat in the United States House, and he has a progressive socialist going to be challenging him for the New York race in their primary. I read that earlier today. So Mamdani voters, AOC Trump voters, and Obama Trump voters, when confronted Tuesday on how difficult her path in Texas Senate race would be. MS Now, or M. Snow, that's how she talks anyway with gangster voice, Chris Hayes asked Crockett about people who question her ability to win 8 to 10% of Republican voters necessary to win her race. What about the Democrats that don't want to vote for her also? Who cited the voters who supported both President Trump and Democrats like Mamdani and AOC and former President Barack Obama. The voters in New York City are completely different from the voters in Texas. Hayes pointed the to Georgia's Senate races and said Democrat Senators Warnock and Ossoff were the closest model after their hard-fought wins in the 2022's races. Okay, so I'm going to read this one paragraph and I'm done with Miss Crockett. The non-Texan from the rich part of St. Louis. I don't think anyone who is super in love with Trump would ever vote for me or any other Democrat. That's just the reality. I think what it is going to talk to people and make them understand that they will fight for them. That is why you have Mamdani Trump voters. That is why you have AOC Trump voters. That is why you have Obama Trump voters, she told Chris Hayes. Let me tell you something. Mamdani has not backed down whatsoever from his rhetoric against the president in the Oval Office. He stood there and said what he said about him being a fascist. Yet he was able to win those voters. So Democrats that believe the only way that you can win is by being soft and sounding like a Republican, that is not true. She's going to lose. Like I said at the Copperas Cove Conservative Club last night, I hope she spends $200 million on her campaign that she's going to lose. So that gives $200 million less for other Democrats to spend in their campaigns across Texas. I'm running out of time here. So let's see. The Secretary of State instructed diplomats to start using Times New Roman and not Calibri. Uh, that came from Anthony Blinken, the last Secretary of State. His reasoning was that people that were visually impaired or with dyslexia can read Calibri better than Times New Roman. Times New Roman is more professional looking than Calibri because with Calibri the letters are wider than they are with Times New Roman. You could probably use Calibri in writing a college paper to put fewer words on a full page. It's a good way to getting around that. But we're not writing college papers. Let's see. We're not going to talk about this one today. I'll just put this one over here. That's a good one too. Ken Paxton. Let's see. We won't do that one yet. We'll go over here. Okay. Lieutenant Governor Patrick announced a property tax reform plan here in Texas aimed at increasing the homestead exemption again for millions of Texas homeowners. The plan falls short of many of the elements of the property tax cut introduced by Governor Greg Abbott last month. At Tuesday's news conference, Patrick outlined reforms that built on past efforts to raise the homestead tax exemptions. He also introduced a new initiative known as Operation Double Nickel. What that is, that would apply to me because I'm 57. The centerpiece of Patrick's latest plan, Operation Double Nickel, would extend the senior property tax benefits to Texas homeowners beginning at age 55, a full decade, that would be 10 years, earlier than the current standard. This means homeowners as young as 55 would see their property values and school property taxes frozen, protecting them from unpredictable appraisal spikes and potential savings in extra $10,000 over the following decade. That would help 3.3 million homeowners in Texas. And then he said he proposed increasing the homestead exemption by an additional $40,000 for all eligible homeowners, even with larger increases planned for seniors and those 55 and up. He argued this approach would be cost effective and popular, noting voters have consistently approved such measures at the ballot box. And this is because appraisal districts keep raising the value of the houses, and then you have municipalities raising taxes on the appraised value of the houses consistently year over year over year, even though they don't need to. We have a city in Bell County, which is just east of here, that has a humongous reserve. I mean, Texas law says you got to have 3 months reserve. All right. They have like close to 9 months reserve in their accounts in Harker Heights, and they keep raising property taxes because they can. What they're trying to do is eliminate a lot of that excess because they're holding it, not spending it. Why do you need 9 months, 10 months, 11 months reserve for anyway? So to go along with that, Ken Paxton is actually he is investigating. His lawyers are investigating municipalities. There's like 1,000 of them he's looking into that have outdated audits on their budgets, because under the new Texas law is you can't go above the no new revenue tax rate without having a current audit on hand and valid and signed off on by the commissioner's court or by the cities. All right. It's Senate Bill 1851 if you're looking into that. Uh, it says Paxton's latest moves beyond citizen-initiated complaints now include audits requested in cities of all sizes: Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Lubbock, El Paso, Corpus Christi, and Waco. We have one going on for the entire county of Coryell County. This was from the Texas scorecard. All right. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, Congresswoman Luna from Florida. She's introducing a bill for a discharge petition to take it straight to the House floor, because she wants to ban insider trading for congressmen and senators. They want to use the same criteria that applies to the executive branch, that make it applied to the legislative branch, to prevent people in Congress from getting rich off of their service instead of just serving. I agree. She was on TV this morning and she explained it all. She already has 60 people on her discharge petition, and she's like looking to get a whole lot more really soon. All right. And then yesterday I'm going to go through some pictures. This is from the Copperas Cove Conservative Club last night. I let politicians that filed for re-election or election to come in and give a spiel for about 5 minutes, do their elevator speech. Right here on the left is Mr. Rob Irwin. He's running for county judge in Coryell County. This is Scott Weddle. He is county commissioner number 2, and he's running for re-election. We have Abraham Garapati. This is his 4th run for U.S. Congress District 31. He's talking to Mr. Irwin. This is a bunch of us here. We got Scott, his wife Kristen. We got Gay, Kirby Lack, Mrs. Inter. We have Kyle Matthews, County Commissioner number 1. I'd like to see what this is. Looks like the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates by a 1/4 point. They only lowered it by 0.25%. It should have been a 1/2 point or more. Okay, and then right over here we have Lou Minnick, her husband Cheyenne. We have Dennis Faulkner. This is B. Cox. She's running for Justice of the Peace 4, place 2. All right. So we heard all those people that spoke last night. That's about all for the JP8 report. Sorry about I was talking to y'all with the slide covering me, but yeah. So they only lowered interest rates by a 1/4 point. That shows that Jerome Powell, he needs to be replaced before his term expires, and the president needs to go ahead and appoint a new Federal Reserve chairman that will actually take care of Americans. So, any questions, comments, concerns? Thank y'all, everyone that showed up today. Here's my my socials for X, Facebook, YouTube, Truth, and my Gmail address here. Alrighty. So, thank y'all for tuning in today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I may be a little bit late tomorrow. I'm not sure. We're taking our daughter to the airport early tomorrow morning down in Austin, so she can go through her graduation ceremonies from the University of Southern California Medical. She's about to get her master's degree in a few months, and Monday is the only time they do their walking the stage. So she's leaving and she needs a ride, so we're going to take care of her. All right. So no comments. All righty. So don't forget, if you're still watching or if you're going to watch later on, hit that follow button and give us a like, and please share it. I appreciate it if you do that. So we'll see y'all probably a little bit later tomorrow afternoon. And I hope everyone has a great day. This is James Pierce of the JP8 Report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.